we seek your guidance and wisdom. May our hearts be filled with integrity and our minds with clarity as we make decisions that affect our community. Let us approach this process with respect for one another and a commitment to the common good. Bless our city, its leaders, and please bless our citizens and all who participate in our democracy. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Amen. Before we do that,
Bradley Miracle is going to perform our pledge for us, and thanks to his grandmother for bringing here. Bradley, are you ready? Okay, go ahead.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Bradley, if you would, and your grandma want to just come up for a minute and tell us what badge you're going after. I think we'd all love to know. And the city manager's going to fix the microphone for you.
turn it over to Grandma.
No, go ahead, Bradley.
I'm going for my citizenship in the community, which is one of the Eagle required merit badges that I need to advance towards my Eagle project and also to earn my Eagle rank with MBSA.
And how long was that going to take you?
Normally, it takes about 3 to 4 years in order to get to Eagle itself.
Yeah.
Merit badges normally take only a few weeks to maybe a month at most to finish.
Well, we thank you for coming up.
Thank you for having us.
You're always welcome. And by the way, that was an excellent job on it. Love to do that stuff. That's great.
All right. Madam Clerk.
Could we have a roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Councilman Jones, post 1.
I'm here, but I just want to thank whoever it was that fixed that clock, because it was worrying me to death back here. I don't know who did it, but thank you. Thank you very much.
I think we had a double master's engineer handle it for us.
Councilman Connor, post 2.
Present.
You're going for the ice pilot.
Councilmember Ingram, post 3.
Here.
Councilman Riley, post 4.
Present.
Councilman Rassi, post 5.
Present.
Councilman James, post 6.
I'm here, but his slip was sort of like a Freudian slip or something. It made me want to, but okay, I'm here. Thank you.
Mayor Morrissey?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you very much.
Sir, we have a quorum.
All right, Council, we have minutes for October 21st, 2024, City Council regular and then executive session meeting minutes. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, I got Mr. Rassi and Mr. Jones. Any further discussion, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Madam Clerk, that's unanimous.
Yes, sir.
Unanimous is a count of 6 tonight. Thank you very much for that, everyone. Presentations today, we have a board appointments for Tax Allocation District Number 3 Advisory Board, and board appointments, vacancies for Orange Hall Management, board appointments, term expirations for Camden County Board of Education, Sex Education and Structural Review Committee, Orange Hall Management Committee, and St. Mary's Library Board. And I just wanted to double check, Madam Clerk, that we had no one at this point. So I'll exhort our community, if you're really interested, please, we have forms online, but the city clerks would be happy to help you if you want to think about joining on any of these boards or committees. You'd be most welcome. Thank you. All right. Speaking of boards and authorities and commissions, Miss Margaret Mesmer, thank you.
Gotta put my glasses on here. All right, good evening, Mayor and Council. You'll find in your packet the finance report for September the 30th, which is the third month of the fiscal year 2025. Do you have any questions?
None. Couldn't report.
Nope. Nope.
This is interesting that, I mean, it's extremely healthy compared to, years 19 and above. It's good to know we've got confidence in our conservative approach to managing, and it's showing off in the data here. So,
Yes, sir.
folks, that's what we're looking at. Okay, anybody else?
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, you and Marcia, please tell everybody else back in the staff groups. We
Yes, sir.
appreciate your hard work. Thank you. Okay. All right. Council, I'd like to set the consent agenda, and as always, I'd like you to make sure you watch me like a hawk. Okay. Under all business, we have a rezoning request for 0 Davis Street from R3 to R5.
Consent?
And a discussion on city mowing.
That says
Yeah, we got to
discuss.
discuss that.
All right, on new business, we have city personnel health insurance. I would like to make sure
Yeah,
that
discuss that,
gets
so she-
discussed. We have a special use permit for 23 single-family homes located on tax parcels IDs 135-094 East and 135-094F.
Consent?
Consent.
And we have a award agreement, Grant National Coastal Resilience. I would like to make sure we talk about that
Yeah,
also.
discuss that one.
So we have a consent agenda that consists of old business A and new business B. Can I have a motion?
Motion to approve the consent agenda is read.
Second.
Mr. Riley, and I got a second from Mrs. James. And any further comment, additions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Madam Clerk, that's unanimous.
Yes, sir.
And now, council, I need approval of the agenda set.
So moved.
All right, Mr. Rassi?
Second.
And a second from Mr. Ingram. And again, any comments, additions, changes? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Madam Clerk, another unanimous?
Yes, sir.
And now, folks, we move to granting audience to the public. This is on agenda items only, and we'd ask you to step up and give your name and address and respect the 5-minute time limit. So, who's first? Okay, thank you very much. We are going to move into our agenda, and it's an old business item. D, it's discussion on city mowing. Mr. Marr and Mr. Horton, you're going to do it? Okay. Thank you. Welcome.
Good evening. All right, a little while back, the discussion came up about mowing city right-of-ways and properties. So we took a look at it from a contracting standpoint, and I actually contacted multiple landscape companies to submit not necessarily bids, but just more along the lines of budget costs on what they kind of thought it would take to do. And I chose 3 different areas because it's different stuff involved on the 3 unique areas. First one looked at was the waterfront park. It's very maintenance intense, you know, kind of a lot of shrubberies, a lot of trees, a lot of grass, flower beds, weeding, those kind of things. Then we took a look at just outside the park along St. Mary's Street from Bartlett down to Ready. and then Osborne up to Church Street, just north of the school, which is a little more street side corridor or downtown landscaping, kind of road landscaping versus a park setting. And then took it from that point at Church Street, which is state highway, and carried it all the way out to the city limits. And that's more of a typical 4-lane highway, sidewalks down a lot of it, a lot of edging, a lot of just mowing narrow patches, like in between the sidewalk and the curb, just behind the sidewalk, long linear, not real many, bunch of passes. So 3 different kind of areas, and we had prices submitted. Now we had budget estimates submitted. Now I spoke with both contractors myself, and I have no idea at the wide range of costs that they submitted while they're there, because I gave them the same maps, the same discussions, the same everything. But anyway, that was what they submitted. So I wanted to make sure that I presented that to the council. So what I'm here tonight asking is, if this is something that you're interested in pursuing, let me go out to bid to get those hard numbers to be able to bring back to you, so that you can make that decision at that point, as yay or nay on the cost involved. But I'd also like to find that area or areas, whatever it is, that you'd like to see if I've left something out that you're interested in taking a look at. That's also what I would like to know, so that I could draft any RFPs appropriately.
Okay.
So that's what I'm here tonight.
Okay.
I have a
Who'd like to go first?
question first.
Right?
So is this mowing and landscaping, correct?
Like in the park, it would, or down here, some of that, but once you get out to the state highway, that's a little different. That's mostly weed eating, edge and mowing, not a lot of landscape, weeding and pruning and those kind of things.
Yeah, I would just say, if appropriate, if we could make sure that it includes those things, because I feel like that's what gets left out sometimes. And then the other thing is, if there's any place I'd say that I see that's been left out, that I see a real area that's of concern, is Coleraine Road from St. Mary's Road to Charlie Smith. So
over
They're-
to
Charlie's-
Bay Road.
I'm confused. They're parallel.
No,
I know what she's saying.
perpendicular,
Yeah.
the perpendicular. So if you go down to Coleraine Road, I'm sorry, St. Mary's Road at the light,
Yeah.
and you take a right onto
Coleraine.
Coleraine, that little section there.
Oh,
I don't think we
okay.
get that section between between St. Mary's Road, taking a right onto Coleraine and driving down to Charlie Smith Senior.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Navy
I
Federal
just that
or St.
little,
Mary's.
where Navy,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
that,
that's a
just
good
that little
point. That's a good
stretch.
point.
There's a couple of islands
Yeah.
there. Yeah. Okay. Plus all the other.
Okay.
Okay, good.
And Bobby, we're talking about edging all of these areas as well?
yes,
Okay.
yep, curb, sidewalk, and both sides of the sidewalk, back curb.
So if there's grass in the curb area on the cement, they're going to get that out as well?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Could I ask my correspondence email, if possible, that you list those areas to us in an email to make sure we fully digest every spot you're talking about? I mean, I can kind of remember everything you said, but I would like to have
In your packet, it's
Yeah,
got
it's pretty thorough.
map.
Pretty thorough.
Yeah, I'll go here. I'm sorry.
And those were not all inclusive, don't get me wrong. There were 3 definitive different types of projects. You know what I mean? There's 3 different potential
Yeah.
scopes that will be involved.
There's seasonal story in there as well as, 'cause
But
I
there's
noticed how they were at least proposing numbers for you, and I think when you put it out, you'll probably be more explicit about.
Right, and that's what I wanted to determine, those specific kind of locations, like say that area you mentioned, Ms. James, that has some definitive or different stuff involved than some of these others that I had proposed, so that's a different kind of animal as well, so.
You were right about the numbers, and it was curious because
Yeah, that's,
some of the numbers from one of them don't fit with the way they have provided numbers to us in the.
yeah,
So I'm not quite sure.
yeah,
Well, that's why when you're ready to send a package out, that's the better, we'll at least understand what we're after. And so I hate to be the bearer of perspective again, but here we are with a bump in the night number.
Sure.
While from our work session, that somebody make sure you put that in the discussion package for Thursday.
I got one question with respect to, this is obviously has cost us money from our own workers doing this work up to now. And how do we pay for that? And do we anticipate any reduction in FTEs or cost or anything with respect to this? So that we're adding something we already do to the budget with these contracts. There has to be a way to pay for them. So I think we have to figure that out too.
yeah.
You
And,
may not have that today, but I would like to see a discussion.
right, and that's all going to depend on the final results of what you decide
Right,
that you want to
understand.
move forward with, but yes, there would be some offset as to, from existing personnel to contract, but,
And I do understand that we haven't
yeah,
done a real satisfactory job with respect to mowing, just because of the time and the difference in seasons and the problems with getting people hired to do that type of work. But certainly we need to consider if there's any way that we're going to save any money on what we currently budget to do that work.
Bobby, you're gonna ask them if they, with or without their own equipment, or if they expect us to do.
Oh, no.
Supply equipment.
we do not provide contractors equipment.
No, not at all.
I got a question.
So there's just your wide variance in the cost of that.
Well,
One of the reasons. Yeah.
He has a question.
Mr. Connor?
My question is this, let's say that they did North Street or whatever, okay? How long would it take them to get back to North Street, having everything else to do?
Okay, who's they? Are you talking about,
No, I'm talking about the mowing in general.
We
are you talking about
Who?
Contract.
or contract or,
No, what I'm talking about, how long would it take the contractors to get back to a spot that they already mowed? I mean, is it gonna be too high before they get back to it, or how does that work?
there's no way to answer that at this point, but it's just gonna depend on what their scope is. You know what I mean? What that final scope that we
Right.
supply to them.
So once we give that final scope, then they can give us
Yes.
a time span on how long it's gonna get back to point A, where they started.
For instance,
Because, I mean,
right
if it's
now-
a month and a half, then it's
Yeah.
gonna be extremely high when they get back to it.
Right, but for instance, right now on St. Mary's Road and Kings Bay Road, they're, the contractor we have for those areas is every other week.
Yeah.
So he
I think
does,
I think that would be great.
Yeah.
so that's,
We should
but that's
specify
how,
that time frame, different periods of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll let you go first, because you haven't.
I'm sorry, thank you. So when I'm reading this, and there's there's 3 different quotes, 3 different areas that we're looking at. So when it says that area is getting 52 visits or 44 visits, I mean, it should be to
Pretty
that
good.
whole
Yeah.
territory that we're talking about, correct?
Inside those different zones, that, the park is one of those zones, that's 52, that's every week, them coming in there to do work. Then, just say like Osborne, I think it was also at 52. And then Highway 40 was at 44, because wintertime, the grass ain't growing as much out there, so
I
litter
think 40 was like
pickup.
26 visits,
Yeah.
so like that's like every 2 weeks, 40
Every
is
other
getting
week.
taken care of. And that's like
Yeah.
the whole 40 of this zone. It's not like they're gonna get this part this time or this part this time. That whole area gets done on that visit, or the way they're charging us. Is that?
Yes, that's correct, is that length of that project, just like St. Mary's Road is 6 miles long.
Right.
So they do it every other week. It might take them 3 days to mow it, but they go through one end to the other and get it done with the litter pickup, and then that's billed as one trip.
Okay. And is this being viewed as a permanent solution or a temporary solution, like a Band-Aid till we can get staffed or get back on top of it ourselves?
That will be up to the council
Okay.
for during budget time.
And I have one more, Coach, then I'm done. So, hang on, I lost my train of thought there. So, go ahead, Coach, and let me get.
As far as the park, they're gonna be weeding and doing everything every time they address that park.
Yeah, that will be in that scope.
Okay. Just wanna make
Can I
absolute
have
sure.
a question? All right, so I have one more question and suggestion. The one question is, one of the areas that we hear a lot about, and I could have missed it on this map, but north of the base gate, so like spur 40 all the way down?
Spur 40 was not
Crooked River,
on here, but
okay, because that seems to be one of the areas that we hear about a lot. And then possibly, I mean, I'm looking at the cost for one city employee, $68,864.49. So I'm thinking, I would be looking at mathematically, how many employees do we still need? Because I don't know that, would we have this to be like a hybrid? A certain percentage is covered by employees, like we have a team that we know that's going to get this specific area, and then perhaps, we contract for a specific area, but it's still within our budget. Can we think of it like that instead of one or the other?
yes, absolutely. Whenever it comes, get the contract or potential contractor numbers in, at that point, we can have all that discussion so that you would be able to make the decision.
Or maybe think about whatever that number is, and then we work within that, backwards from that number.
Right.
And then just to make sure that we get spur 40 north of the base gates, I think like Crooked River area, because I think if I hear issues, it's a lot of times, I'm thinking if I'm coming into St. Mary's, I would want to hit all of the major, we call them
Arteries.
thoroughfares or
Arteries
coming in, and then at least we know that we've taken care of,
Okay.
those pieces.
Okay.
All right, so
That's
spur
it.
40.
Chad, I think, are you good?
I'm done,
Okay,
yeah.
Chad.
Yeah, then, I was pretty much going to say where I lost my train of thought about the same she did is, so this is like a hybrid where this is all that we're contracting out just to lighten the load, but we're still using city employees to do the rest of St. Mary's.
Correct.
Right, and then, I was going to use the example of, just territory-wise, coming into St. Mary's from Kingston on Laurel Island Parkway, winding road, and out to Crooked River. That would be a area, and unless we're just doing that with city employees,
Yeah, those roads were planned to still use city employees.
Okay.
Same thing with, and like spur 40, there's two definitive kind of areas with, got the south end up to Douglas or Colerain. That's just kind of like Highway 40 with the sidewalks both sides, curb and gutter, 4-lane divided, 4-lane highway kind of
Right up to
setup. Once you get up to Navy Federal, it becomes a 4-lane divided, which is a totally different cross section. So that kind of has a little change in scope, but it's not a problem.
Could I suggest that, so we focused on a few key things, and thank you for the way you did the report. So there may be a couple of other areas that some of the council people have just focused on. So when we do the what's it, RFP or Q?
This would be a bid.
Bid process,
All right,
yeah.
so
Bids, not
if you put the
RFP.
bid package together, if you put all the different components together, and we get a number, there may be some areas we can't, we can pick and choose what we decide to do that we can afford. So we ought to ask, if you have something in particular beyond what we've discussed, you ought to give it to Mr. Marr. And so when we do finally put the bid out, it's as comprehensive as we want. And then if we can't afford all of it, then you all can kind of decide what you want to do.
All right, let me
But I
just
think
say,
rather than just doing 3, let's do what we think we want, or you all want, and then let's decide, again, what we think we can afford based on the results from the
right, we
bid.
just have to be careful not to develop this laundry list or menu, as
Yeah.
it's called a lot of times, because a lot of times the contractor puts like their overhead and their profit into all the bids. You start taking away where they had some of their stuff,
Okay.
their overhead, their profit, what that bid could change. So,
So you got to help us in trying to do that. We don't want to get too comprehensive, it needs to have some kind of focus to it.
yeah, so we could do a base bid
Okay.
with certain criteria, certain number of streets, and then do add alternates.
Okay.
That way they front load all that overhead into the base, and that's the only thing
That'll work.
that they're getting, and then do a add alternate for anything additional, so.
Okay.
So, go ahead, Chad. No, go ahead.
I was just saying, I would just like to make sure that we're making a commitment on our city staff that, if there's, citizens listening to this portion and we're gonna contract this area out in this area, but not your area, that on our end, we're gonna make a commitment that we're gonna give at least the same service that these contracts are providing to that area of the city. Because it hasn't been like that. I know we've been understaffed or short and can't get to it, but it's just, it has been a problem for a while, just that we're gonna make that commitment, that we're gonna give you just as good a service as you're gonna get from the contractors, or we're gonna set the example to show them how to do it.
Well, absolutely. With the reduction in the mileage that we have to try to cover with the limited staff, it's
Yes, sir.
a lot easier to.
So we
Increase
feel
quality.
comfortable, I mean, we feel comfortable and confident right now by hiring part of it out, that the city can take care of the other ones in a timely manner.
No, sir, I'm not gonna say I'm comfortable contracting out until I see numbers.
I think we need to get.
Right now, we
the,
just, let's see what the cost would be,
Yeah.
and then we go,
If the cost is.
and then
Yeah.
we take a look at it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Because you won't have this number for Thursday.
One thing I will
At least you understand, though,
But we can have, we have an idea. I
it's the
think.
concept.
We can have the
Yeah.
concept.
And that's why I brought those
Yeah.
budget numbers.
One thing I do want to share is that a few years ago, we went through this on St. Mary's Road,
Yeah.
and it was a nightmare. And Eddie's Lawn Care has done a very good job for the city, right, from your standpoint? I see it looking nice, but you have to work
And the
with them.
PSA before that, when
Yeah.
they had the staff.
Yeah, the PSA had it at one time.
Yeah.
PSA was the best.
Okay.
I think
So I think it
this
was a
point,
step in
do
the
the
direction
bid.
we were looking for. And so when do you think you would, what, we need to provide you with information if there's some specific interest. And then, so I think we're tasking Mr. Marr, that's good for you. We're tasking Mr. Horton to work with Mr. Marr and staff about a bid package. Okay. Probably a month?
A month for what? We have to advertise for a month.
Well, okay. Sounds like 2
Yeah,
months.
we have to advertise
All
30
right,
days.
so expectation is January.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Just so we have an idea.
So, just like Marcia was talking with timing on getting stuff into the paper and advertising and stuff, it's the same kind of developing that bid package, that scope.
Is that, you're good with that, Mr. Horton? Okay. Anybody else? Okay. All right. Thank you
I
very much.
would ask, Mr. Mayor, if we can, if you're going to send us in information, please have it done by Friday.
Okay.
If you could send us any additional areas that you have, send it to myself and to Bobby.
In the interest of time, would you be able to, I mean, you kind of know more about the arteries than we do. Would you just look at the major arteries? And I think, would everybody be okay with just looking at the major arteries?
Yeah.
So that we don't have, you don't have to wait for different
Okay.
emails.
Okay, the only one I'm not sure about is Colerain from Kings Bay to the city limit. If that would be considered as part of the major artery?
Do we already have a contract on that?
No, we don't.
No.
Well,
The only contracts are Kings Bay and St. Mary's Road.
Yeah.
I think Colerain would be considered a major artery.
anything without a contract.
agree.
And then Spur 40 had mentioned stopping at Kings Bay, main entrance.
I think we should
So-
go a little bit north of Kings Bay to make sure we cover everyone there.
Oh, yeah, like Ortegapi,
Crooked River.
right in
Oh,
there.
Kings Bay.
Yeah, Spur
Okay.
40, not Colerain.
Get it
But
confused.
Colerain, we
We'll
cover all
we'll
of
work
that.
on the,
think you got
we'll
it.
work on the areas and
Okay.
and
Okay.
have a definitive lines.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right.
All right, anyone else?
Confuse you.
All right. Thank you, Bobby.
Thank
Thank
you.
y'all.
All right, now we're going to move on to new business, and I'm going to ask Donna Larson, Mr. Horton?
Yes, please.
Donna, do you want to come up and speak to this health insurance initiative that you worked on and give us the background and the
Okay.
results? Thank
All
you.
right, well, good evening, Mayor and Council. Here tonight to request your approval to change health carriers from Aetna, who is our current carrier, to Anthem, which is Blue Cross. Everybody's familiar with Blue Cross Blue Shield. If you remember back in 2020, I think it was like 2021, we went out for brokerage services and we went with NFP. And I do have Jonathan Shaw with NFP here tonight, so he can
Welcome.
probably go over some of the more particulars of this. But through our partnership with NFP, they were able to, we basically had a very unfavorable claims year. Okay, is that better?
That's more
Okay. We had we had an unfavorable claims year, and every year our broker will go out to the market to see what's out there. Thankfully, he's got really good relationships with the Georgia market. He was able to secure this quote with Anthem, and if we would have stayed with Aetna, we were facing an initial 32.8% increase, which is $660,000 for 1 year.
Okay, you need to say that very loudly. Because I was
$660,000.
I was pouting on you earlier. I stole your thunder.
That's okay. That's okay. They were able to secure a competitive quote from several carriers, but we met with them several times with Mr. Horton, myself, and we went over these, and we felt that Anthem is the best. They actually came back, sweetened the pot a little bit, and are going to give us a $60,000 credit. It's going to go towards our first. So we're actually going to be a little bit less, $60,000 less for our insurance for this coming year than we were for the current year. And at this point, I'd like to bring up Jonathan. He can kind of go over the particulars about why we chose Anthem and explain the type of plan that we are transitioning to.
Okay. Welcome.
Thank you all for allowing me to be here again. My name's Jonathan Shaw. I represent NFP Public Sector Solutions. We're out of Statesboro, Georgia. Literally all we do, city, county government, school systems here in the state of Georgia. It's our niche, if you will. So a lot of pride in what we do. We get to work with folks like, Mr. Horton, Donna, Kelly, your whole team. I know Marcia, as well, and the finance team with Kim and everybody else. But very tough year. Y'all are right on that, small to mid-size kind of cusp there. 100 employees is a huge metric when you get into group health insurance. It gets you out of kind of a group spreadsheet kind of oriented quoting system to where you get to claims experience, right? And that situation when you get human beings involved, underwriters involved, where, partnering with someone like NFP that has more city, county government business actually means a lot more, from the point of leverage. As Donna mentioned, we didn't have much to work with in the form of, positive claims experience. Y'all's plan ran well over 100% last year. That 32% renewal was warranted, based off of, the claims experience you had incurred, over that, 12-month period. But again, the market came to bat. They kind of saved the day. We had a lot of competitive proposals, but Anthem was the ultimate recommendation for a number of reasons. As I mentioned, now going from an under 100 employer to right over 100 employees, we're going to a level funded type program, which is kind of a stair step into the partially self-funded world without all the unpredictable moving parts you probably think of when you hear partially self-funded. But it gives it a lot more access to your claims. We're going to have, be able to be more strategic, more educated in developing solutions, right, to prevent these claims from occurring in the future. That is, wellness programs, things of that nature. So with that, when you go on your own scorecard, when it's really based more off of your claims, you're not a part of this, pool, it's super important to make sure you're on the right network, because not every network is created equal in terms of access, but also in terms of the discounts, right, that they give on all of the claims. And when we compared that to the competition being Cigna, Aetna here currently, United Healthcare, and Anthem, Anthem has anywhere from a 9 to 16% advantage over those competing companies in this area. So for that reason, thinking not only just, this year, but certainly big picture, long term, you want to be on the best network access discounts. We're going to be paying as little as possible, per claim by, being on that Anthem network. The downside, anytime you change insurance companies, is big pharma, right? It's the prescription drug component. Every insurance company and carrier have their different sweetheart deals they call formularies, right? So not every formulary is created equal. There are definite differences, some winners, some that are going to be negatively impacted through this carrier change. We were able to identify those medications. We're going to have a very in-depth communication strategy with those folks during open enrollment prior to January 1 when those changes take effect. But when looking at $660,000 to keep our plan and drug card the same, or take advantage of this savings and deal with some disruption to the prescriptions, right? I mean, it was a pretty clear path there, that was the best solution for the employees here at St. Mary's long term. So with that, I'll stop for a second. Certainly, I'm happy to expand as much as you may need.
Folks have questions.
We've met and I had a chance to ask a ton of questions, and just for clarity for my colleagues up here, I'm a licensed health insurance agent, so this is right along my wheelhouse. And so we were able to talk about all of the things. I think what's important for us to understand is what are some of the possible pitfalls, and I think he kind of touched on the claims experience, which we don't have access to now. So we would have had no way between the last cycle and now to know that we were going over.
Correct.
And so with this new process, they should be able to get a dashboard of some type. Well, they'll be able to say, okay, we're running over. But he mentioned the solutions. So having a wellness plan in place, and this looks like there's very little impact to the employees except for those formulary changes, but they have a really good plan to be able to kind of mitigate some of that and communicate it out properly. So from what I looked at, this was really the best plan that was presented that was going to benefit and also save us a little bit money. I think the only thing that I would just for the council to say is that $60,000 credit is a good thing. So in the first year, we may not really be able to see
Real number.
whether, real performance. So, but we'll take the 60,000 and move over this first year. And then next year, we really need to manage, where we're at in terms of the claims. But the most important thing is making sure the wellness plan is up and running and that we really are, I think, engaging with the employees to make sure that they control it. And then he mentioned this is a kind of a step into self-funding, and we have self-funded without all the risk of self-funding. And so I think that from my perspective as a licensed health insurance agent, this is a really good move for the city.
Anybody else?
I had all my questions answered earlier, reinforced there by the presentation, so I'm good.
So I want to, I did speak to it. I just wanted to make sure we didn't underwhelm the impact of this, that the impact on the budget in St. Mary's was significantly impacted by the staff and the professionalism and the know-how that they had to reach out to the right kind of people and find a solution that really sidetracked a tremendous, as I call it, a bump in the night in the budget, and which is what we've been dealing with earlier in the day, trying to think about. And this is exactly one of those things that is disturbing, and we need to keep our eye on it, but that's why we have the staff do these things and also be pretty creative about trying to figure out how to find a solution. They didn't accept the status quo. They went out and said, no, this doesn't stand. We're going to have to do something. So I want to thank you, the staff. I know there's probably a lot more people involved in this, and your firm too, for helping us, because this, just as, again, a perspective, Donna, I did my gorilla number. So our healthcare number in general is about 2 million.
Yes. It would have been about 500.
Separate from the salary. It's the salary plus 2 million for basic health care for, 100 of our 140-ish people, because not everybody's in the plan.
Correct. Yeah, it
But-
would have been a $575,000 hit to the city's budget. The other 80-something thousand would have been the employees' portion going up.
Yeah.
So we were able to avoid that.
So a big win, and, again, the thank yous are, needs to be more than that, but we really appreciate and your help, Jonathan. Thank you very much. Anybody else?
I just want to say, because you touched on it, but I just want to make sure we're not, you said underwhelmed. Whenever you, first of all, to the broker, because he probably, when he pulled these quotes, hundreds, I'm thinking a couple hundred, to have to go through and to be able to get to this solution. It is not an easy thing. And I think he also, when we met, I sensed that Donna was like, oh my gosh, what do we do? But he really did a good job of identifying how to help us. And I think that we should also be very thankful that we have a really good broker. Yeah. So I think that's something that I can't even tell you that there's a lot of municipalities and other organizations that are not as fortunate. So I think we need to make sure that we identify that, and thank Donna for the work that she did too.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Thank you both. Appreciate it. All right.
Thank you all.
Do we need to vote on this? Yeah, so we do. All right, so if somebody, I
So
need
moved.
a motion to accept.
Motion to accept, please.
Mr. Jones, and a second from Ms. James. Any further discussion or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Madam Clerk, that's unanimous.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations, folks. All right, see you again. But, I'm just gobsmacked. That's all I can tell you about how that helped us. Okay. So now under new business, the next one is just as sparkling and spectacular, and I'm going to ask Jamie to come up and talk about an award agreement for a grant for National Coastal Resilience, and it's all about the future, folks.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and
Yes, ma'am.
council, and to the public. Here this evening before you is an award agreement for $509,136.60 from the National Coastal Resilience Fund to support. The title of the grant was Designing for Resilience Through Estuary Restoration in St. Mary's. So what this is the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation, and you'll see it on the grant agreement, assembled $509,000 and change dollars from two funding sources. One is the Department of Defense, because we are considered a defense community with our neighbor, the base, and that total is about $378,000 coming from the Department of Defense, and then an additional $131,000 coming from NOAA. So I think Mr. Horton had a graphic for us. If you remember, I had come a couple of, boy, it might have even been a year ago now. I don't remember. But I had come to speak to you about a grant application that we were doing to acquire land in the area of downtown known as the Spine. And I showed this graphic as part of that presentation. So what you're seeing, forgive me, sorry. So what you're seeing on this graphic, the image on the left is a rendering from, help me out there, Attorney Blackery, thank you, 1983. That was actually part of an urban design and planning visioning for the downtown, and the vision was sort of this idea of a Central Park, if any of you are familiar with New York City Central Park, for downtown St. Mary's. So it is this area that is, for all intents and purposes, undisturbed and conserved, but also could be used for passive recreation. The image that you're seeing on the right, that is from our own mapping analysis, and that's hard for me to explain, but the road that's kind of at the very top of the graphic, the road that curves in and comes down, I don't know if you can see it. So that's Osborne. So I'm just trying to anchor you coming into downtown. The hashed areas, that kind of green slashed area that you're seeing there, those parcels of land are either city-owned, or they're PSA-owned, or they're DDA-owned, or DASM-owned. So we have some type of ownership. And then there are other identified parcels that you're seeing in that real dark purple. These are privately held parcels. So what is this all about? So the grant that we've received is to do a preliminary design for both estuary restoration, because this was actually all estuary marshland at one point before we developed our downtown. And so we're looking to work within about 60 acres that is undeveloped land in downtown, and that is what we refer to as the Spine. The Spine in that area and conservation of that area was noted as the highest priority project from our 2022 resilience plan and implementation work plan. The Spine consists of about 60 acres of low-lying, it's a drainage basin in the center of the city that serves as critical flood retention for both draining stormwater to the north, east, and west, and absorbing flooding tides and storm surge where it connects to the St. Mary's River. So it's all kind of an interconnected system. And if you've ever been on Bartlett traveling south, you know that there's several blocks that you pass that are undeveloped. So that's the Spine. And this grant is a preliminary design, planning, and community engagement grant in which we will do those activities over the course of about a year, I think is about how that will go, about a year. And that effort will be, I think, most likely a collaborative effort between community development and public works. Can I answer any questions?
This will fall nicely within the new master plan effort line.
It will, yeah, it will. a lot, just making connections. I mean, you know, when we've talked about this in the past, we've talked a little bit about how do you draw the public from that larger hashed area that you're seeing just below Osborne, which is our aquatic center, coming down to Remembrance Park, continuing along perhaps a bicycle path or a nature walk, and then how do we, you know, bring ourselves then, maybe we continue a multimodal path down Bartlett where we connect to St. Mary Street and the river park there and potentially the water.
Yeah.
So
And part of the genesis of all this was a significant donation by the Norris family 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, they used to do
And,
that.
and then subsequently, the city's initiative on trying to acquire some properties, and now it's going to have some further really strong, I think, conceptual approaches to what do we do, because as I let in when you came up, this is about 20 and 30 years from now. And providing the city with flexibility to be able to manage whatever's coming in the way, if, whether you believe it or not, sea rise level or changes in the flow of all the water systems in the city. It's all about preparing and being able to have tools to manage for the future.
Yep.
And so
Absolutely.
it's pretty significant from that standpoint, and I'm really interested in your collaboration with the whomevers that are going to come down here and tell us about all this exciting.
Yeah, I mean, so Army Corps just completed also I guess it was Department of Defense funded analysis of the spine and its flood mitigation performance. And then we have Georgia Tech students who are going to be working with us in the spring to do a little bit of urban design and preliminary design for what this kind of passive stormwater park could be. You know, I think, just to reference this slide, we had applied for about a $2 million land acquisition grant from NOAA, which we didn't get. We did not get that money. And so with the partners of the Georgia Conservancy and the Nature Conservancy, we're going to continue to pursue land acquisition opportunities. So hopefully this community engagement around the spine grant might trigger some other charitable gifts.
And we're getting notice for our efforts. So it's not like it's on the front page, but we are being noticed for what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
And,
I know that Mr. Riley had asked me about the matching requirements. So there is a match of about $170,000, but that is in-kind services. So that would be done through our partners, through staff time, and the like.
That impact.
Outstanding.
Yeah. So, anybody else?
I'd just like to make a comment that we also included the spine. This is much more in-depth than we did, but the Stormwater Committee, when they met and looked at some of the big projects in the future, this was one of the biggest, so it's good to see it moving along. And I'll pass that on to the committee members.
Okay.
Great.
So while Jamie's up here, can I have a motion? Or do you have a
I
question?
was just going to say also about 4 years ago, Senator Ossoff came down with St. Mary's and the backdrop to announce the coastal resiliency. And I think, my thoughts were I would love for us to be the poster child for everything they want to do with coastal resiliency. So I feel like this is a first step. But also you mentioned multimodal paths and connectivity, and I think most cities want to go in the direction of being able to create that, and it does help to make for the ability to attract and to obtain additional funding along that way. So this is a great start to that. So, thank you.
Make a motion, we approve.
All right, so I have a motion.
Second.
I got a nod from Mr. Jones. How about a second?
Second.
From Ms. James. Any further conversations, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Madam Clerk,
Thank
that's
you.
unanimous. Jamie?
Yes, sir.
We look forward to hearing what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I'm sure.
All right, and so now our City Manager, Mr. Robbie Horton, is here. Thank you,
Good
Rob.
evening, Mayor and Council, citizens. So for your update from Public Works, the Garden Club is preparing some flower beds at Orange Hall to plant flowers in the spring along in front of the building and along the walkways from the front porch towards Osborne. So you'll see some ground disturbed, you'll see some things going on there. Pardon me. So there is activity going on. Moving ahead to Human Resources, our new Senior Center Director that you met at our last meeting, Ms. LaToya Wirtz. She's fantastic. She's already wide open.
Is the Senior Center open today?
Yes.
Is it
Yes, sir.
reopened? Good.
Yes, sir. HR has been working, advertising, and interviewing for positions in Public Works, along with Public Works. Also been advertising and interviewing for meter readers and finance. Our police department, during the month of October, St. Mary's Police Department answered 3,043 calls for service, conducting 968 security checks, conducted 374 traffic stops, resulting in 190 citations. St. Mary's Police Department made 58 arrests, 26 of which were for narcotics, 10 were for DUI.
Wow.
Do we have any, this time for Clinton, they filling the paper out?
Not this month, sir.
Well, you should drive up on that entrance to St. Mary's Road from Osborne.
From our fire department, the average response time for fires is 5 minutes and 18 seconds. EMS calls 5 minutes and 37 seconds. Average turnout time is 50 seconds. Runs for the month 277 in 1 month.
Wow.
Just to give you perspective, when I took over 24 years ago, we had about that many total calls. So that gives you perspective of how our services are being impacted. There were 464 inspections in the building department, 51 were ENS inspections, and 22 certificate of occupancies were issued.
Rob?
Yes, sir.
You gave us a stat earlier in the other meeting about
Yes, sir.
permits. maybe?
That was total permits.
Yeah, so you want to let I don't think the crowd here heard that. It's a great number.
My apologies to the crowd and to council. I put my paper away. Last year, fiscal year 2024, which goes from July 1st to November, or to June 30th, there was a total of 1,211 permits that were issued. The total valuation of all the permits that were issued was $64,383,220.89. So, is that what you're referring to, sir?
Yes, but then
Okay.
you got a new number.
Sir?
Then you have a new number.
Then I have a new number?
For the
I
new.
think he just
Remember,
wants
my
to-
hearing aids aren't
He
working
just wants you
right.
to say $1 billion.
So you got a new number for the current fiscal.
Oh. We are currently, total number of inspections, 719, and that's any and all inspections. We don't have a evaluation at this point.
But you have I was after the permits.
719 permits.
Okay, and that's from July 1st to current,
Yes,
and the number for the entire year was 1,200.
right.
So we're not even halfway through.
No.
We got
No.
I've got 2 more months to go. And then we've got 6 months after that.
Yes. Our building department's been
Pretty
very, very
exciting.
busy.
Very exciting.
So in an effort to move ahead, tourism, St. Mary's featured in the Discoverer The 10 best small towns to visit in the winter. Impressions 1,948,897. St. Mary's was featured in the World Atlas, 10 coast Georgia towns with amazing weather year-round. That was 8,851,689 total impressions. Not including Discoverer and World Atlas from July 24 to October 24, St. Mary's, Cumberland Island, Georgia has been featured in 60 published results, generating for over 8 billion total impressions and 167.2 million total estimated value in return. Travel and Taste and Tour Magazine, marketing home for the holidays, released 885,000 persons reached. I really ought to have Angela doing all this. She puts these numbers in, it'll drive me crazy. Where to Eat in St. Mary's PR campaign was sent to over 2,600 media outlets and writers, to state marketing staff, and to all non-state visitor centers. Coastal Angler Marina Magazine ad released, 10,000 circulation in Northeast Florida subscribers. 50-word bonus editorial for Set Sail with Santa and Tinsel Trail sent to Atlanta Magazine for December issue. They are working on the Shop Small Saturday blog newsletter submitted to Coastal Shopper Community Market ad. The three ride bike ride, I think it's Three Rivers. I think she did it on purpose. Three Rivers Bike Ride registration hosted event with 145 participants this past weekend. Submitted St. Mary's holiday photos to media company. Conducted Build a Scarecrow workshop with 40 sold. 35 days of 5+ to go. The Tinsel Trail permit meeting, leadership Canyon presentation on economic development. The Georgia Public Broadcasting TV and magazine ads submitted. Matching grant from Georgia Public Broadcasting. And the GDOT maintenance agreement was submitted. That was for the wayfinding sign.
Thank you.
Our community development, the last master plan included a web-based survey to kick off public engagement for creation of our new master plan. The department will be sending the survey to all boards, authorities, and commissions for their participation. The public is also encouraged to complete the survey, which can be found on the website under community development, correct? Thank you. Under the master plan section. So go to the community development page, go to master plan, and you'll find the link to the questionnaire. Okay. Community development is preparing to begin work on the National Coastal Resiliency Fund grant for Phase 1 planning and engineering for the Spine project. There will be a public engagement component of this work. For those who are interested in engaging are asked to contact the department. Members of the city's Affordable Housing Committee traveled to Georgia Initiative for Community Housing Fall Retreat in Athens, October 15th through 17th. Members brought home information on the economics of affordable housing as well as the state and federal programs available for the city to grow and maintain its existing affordable housing stock. The Main Street Office, in collaboration with Community Development and the Historic Preservation Commission, have initiated a new pilot program aimed at creatively using the city's right-of-way to add vibrancy and outdoor public gathering space to downtown. This program will be an extension of the city's existing sidewalk cafe permit and the design standards. Pardon me. Many have noticed, everybody that likes to ask the questions, many have noticed the crane positioned at the East Meeting Street boat launch. This crane is assisting in the offloading of building materials from crane to barge for the Langs Marina West rebuild. So that's what it's there for. Gateway Marina with the new boats in preparation for winter. It's a great time to attract more visitors. The 4.3 star rating on Docwa is impressive out of 60 reviews. It's a testament to the quality of our service. The repairs of the water line from the storm should be completed this week. We had a water line that separated from the actual dock was being taken care of. The aquatic park is still working through the process of getting the stairs repaired as well as the kiddie area repairs done. The platform needs a complete replacement. We are also awaiting a structural engineer to review the orange crush. Plumbing is also being reviewed by Volker. We are also meeting to review potential shading products to have better cooling areas. From our court, we are still reviewing the collection process to capture lost monies associated with fines. This will help with any fines being collected and will pose no cost to the city, and you will probably be seeing that in an upcoming council meeting. Moving ahead, just FYI, as far as Hurricane Helene goes, all the debris has been picked up for Hurricane Helene and Milton, which was a total of 597 loads of debris with an estimated 17,510 cubic yards of debris. We're waiting on the chipper to come back to St. Mary's so they can begin chipping so it can be transported to the dump. Mayor and Council, that concludes my report for this evening.
Anyone have questions for Mr. Hart?
Great report.
Thank you.
Can you purchase any of those chips?
That I don't know. I think that's going to have to be a discussion with the company. We'll look into it and let everybody know.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna ask something, down those lines. Several years ago when I was a county commissioner, we had, a chipper, a grinder, and we made mulch. And we actually made money during hurricane seasons. Have, that stopped, Bobby? This may have been before your time. This was in the 90s.
It's,
Yeah, the county.
We didn't ever have a chipper.
Yeah, I know the county had yeah, because we even used it overseas, on some of the islands, in Nassau and the Bahamas. Can we also do this? Because we would contract out with the cities, Brunswick, Waycross, different cities doing hurricane time. We had a tumble grinder, we would grind it up and we would make mulch and sell the mulch back to the golf courses.
I do not recommend owning a tub grinder. Because all the maintenance has associated. But it's something we can look into if that's not.
yeah.
Yeah,
There's
I mean,
also-
if they did the tumble grinding in our area and left the chips for us to use, we could probably use it in some of our parks and other places. Just a question.
We can certainly look into it.
Anybody else? Thank you, Ms. Hart. Appreciate it.
Good job.
All right, we'd like to move on to granting audience to the public and ask you to come up and give your name and address and respect the 5-minute time limit. Yes, sir.
Larry White, 102 Sylvia's Court, in St. Mary's. Good evening, Mayor and Council and the public. I have two things I want to talk about. The first is tomorrow's Election Day.
It is?
Yeah.
If you haven't already voted, which I think the majority of people already have, you need to go out and vote tomorrow. Which leads me into my next comment. All these election signs that we've posted around the city, not only in private property, but in common areas. As an example, if you look on Coleraine Road at the corner of, I can't even remember the name of the street. Sugar Mill Boulevard. There's two center islands right there. And both those islands have election signs in the middle of them, which is, as far as I know, is illegal in the city. You're not supposed to have election signs in the islands in the middle of the roads. I would think that after the election is over, that I don't know how long the city gives the people running for office time to get their signs up off the roads and right-of-ways. I think that needs to be looked at to make sure we get them picked up. The other thing is, this afternoon I was coming from my house down to the city hall to attend a meeting there. And I stopped at the light at Spur 40 and 40, waiting to make a left so I can make a right to go back to the new city hall. And as I saw people coming from across from me, there's two lanes coming out of that shopping center. One is a left-hand turn, and one is straight ahead and a right-hand turn. Well, I saw several cars in the left-hand turn lane go straight. There was no signs there, as has been brought up before by another citizen about painting in these roads. Also, as I was waiting, I was going to make a left and make an immediate right. The people in my left lane next to me, when they made a left, they made it in the no driving lane on 40, and then they merged into the right-hand lane, and I saw almost had an accident there. One car almost ran into another one. Now, I don't know if the city has anything to do with painting those lanes or separating them, but I'm sure there's going to be accidents happen there if it doesn't get squared away. And I think that's it. Thank you.
Okay, who's next?
I know it.
No, Larry stole my thunder. Oh, Dave Schmidt's 112 New Hammock Circle up in Chatelawn. He stole my thunder about restriping. It has come up in the past about blighted properties. And one of the things that's been mentioned repeatedly is how bad the bag plant looks. And I think at one point, not so long ago, the mayor said something about they were working on that, see if they could get the guy to clean the building up. I'm not sure, but I think maybe the north end of the building might have been either chemically cleaned or pressure washed a little bit because it looks a little bit cleaner. It's really probably none of my business, but I won't let that stop me. It's come out, and I don't do social media, but several people that do that I live with pointed out to me that there was a headline about someone buying up the St. Mary's waterfront. And so I had to do a little research. And it appears that, if my facts are correct, that the guy that owns the Dodgers out in California is buying up he's a billionaire, he's buying up a huge bit of the waterfront, including all of the Lang's property, the marina, the restaurant, the house down on the east end. I'm not sure if he's got the warehouse or not. The old Georgia Power building, the Riverview Cafe, and Trolleys. I don't think he's going after the Submarine Museum, but maybe the Riverview Hotel as well. And he's probably a stand-up guy, but it kind of bothers me that one person is pretty much going to own the whole St. Mary's waterfront. And I just wondered if it bothered anybody else. Thank you.
Thank you. Who's next? Thank you very much. And calendar from our clerk, Madam Clerk,
Yes, sir.
you ready?
On Wednesday, November the 6th, at 5 o'clock, the Development Authority of St. Mary's meeting will be in the Main Street office. And just added tonight, on Thursday, November the 7th, at 4:30 PM here in council chambers, the special call city council meeting. On Friday, November the 8th, at 9 a.m. here in council chambers, St. Mary's Municipal Court plan arraignments. On Monday, November 11th, St. Mary's City buildings will be closed in observance of Veterans Day. Also rescheduled from November the 11th to November the 18th is the Downtown Development Authority meeting, which was to be held at 8:30 in the Main Street office, will now be held on Monday, November the 18th at 8:30. On Tuesday, November the 12th at 5:30 p.m. here in Council Chambers Planning Commission meeting. On Thursday, November the 14th at 9:30 a.m. in the Main Street. That's actually, they've changed to the Main Street building, will be the Orange Hall Management Committee meeting. Also on November the 14th at 5 o'clock p.m. in the St. Mary's Intracoastal Gateway meeting in the Main Street office. And on Friday, November the 18th, we have the rescheduled St. Mary's Municipal Court, which was rescheduled from October due to the hurricane. There will be an extra meeting for the St. Mary's Municipal Court on Friday, November the 15th. And on Monday, November the 18th at 8:30 a.m., we will also have it's the meeting for the DDA, followed by the 6 o'clock p.m. City Council meeting, sir.
Okay, and Madam Clerk, you have on the 14th, you have a 4:30 special call meeting. It's being organized.
A special call on the 14th? I thought we were
Oh,
doing
no,
the
it's, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I
It's
thought we
the
were doing
7th.
Yes, sir.
Did you, I missed it if you said it.
Oh, yes, sir, I did.
Okay, I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. Mr. Jones, how about some comments? Have any?
I don't really have any. I just wanted to thank Mr. Smith. He didn't think that Mr. White was going to come, and he said he was going to go ahead and take his place. But seemed like Mr. White came and he stole your thunder. So I just wanted to say, I love constructive criticism, and I like when people come to the meetings and they express things that sort of a nuisance or things that they think could be improved without a whole lot of hoopla. I love this city. I've been here all my life, and it seemed like the older I get, the more I can appreciate citizens like yourself. I would say something about Mr. Ingram, but he's old school. I just want to say, again, echoing on Mr. White, Election Day is tomorrow, and it will be good to turn on the television and not have 1,000 commercials about what they did and what they can do and what they should have done. This is sacred to me, the ability to vote. I remember during my time coming up right here in St. Mary's, I wasn't able to. My parents weren't able to. So I asked everybody that can and haven't, please get down and express yourself. I think you said almost 50% of the over 50% of the people have already voted, and this is a record. And all I can say is keep up the good work. Thank you, Mayor.
Well, I want to piggyback on Artie a little bit about the election tomorrow. We just have to make sure I put this correctly. We just can't lose sight in what we're trying to do. I mean, the United States of America is important. It's very important. Regardless of who wins, we're going to have to get behind them and back them and make absolutely sure we back them in a great manner. As far as the mowing is concerned, Bobby, I want to thank you so much for everything you do as far as organizing those bids and everything. And hopefully we can get a bid that's going to be good and be able to be successful with our mowing and everything. Because there's a whole bunch of area out there to mow. And, I mean, we're talking about ditches too. Possibly hiring 4 more people with that. We discussed that tonight as well. But appreciate everybody that works so diligently to make sure that the city of St. Mary's is prosperous. Without y'all, our workers and leaders within this city of St. Mary's, if we didn't have you, we wouldn't have anything at all. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank all the city staff that came up tonight. Everybody, did a good job presenting and discussing the topics they came up to discuss. They were all very clear on describing what was going on. Bobby, yeah, thank you for looking into or helping us fix the mowing and maintenance issue. I know that we get a lot of negative comments that may be justified, that as we continue to grow and we have a lot of exciting projects, making sure that we can maintain what we have before we expand to new stuff that we might not take care of. So it's very important, and we've definitely heard all the complaints and seeing the issues and, doing a good job trying to identify those and be better moving forward in that area. Just lightly touching on, because there's a lot of unknowns, and I definitely don't have a whole heck of a lot of information that anybody has on the situation. But just to touch on Mr. Schmitz, we do have an investor buying up properties in town. We could have, it could be worse. It could be somebody that doesn't have a good track record, but this guy's not the case. Obviously you have to do research. It's not like I knew who the guy was before somebody started talking about him buying White Oak Plantation. And they did a great job out there. There's been another city involvement, and everybody that's an employee out there, one good friend of mine that's been out there for over 30 years now, swears by it and is excited, and he's loved St. Mary's too. So, we do have city codes in place, and there's things that, even whatever, that property is, there's things that, we can still maintain the fabric of St. Mary's, even with, what seems to be coming a facelift to a lot of these buildings are just upgrades. It looks like it's going to, it seems exciting that it could be a positive situation, a good business partner for St. Mary's, based off of discussions that I've heard on it so far. So,
Yes, sir.
a vote.
Oh, you good?
Yep.
You good? All right, before I get started.
Out there.
I kind of echo those comments and appreciate you talking a little bit about that property, so thank you. I won't say any more on those. And what I will say is, many of you may remember that we've had the ferry discussed, and we had a proposal that was given to us, and we never reached agreement with that guy for various reasons, and I'm not going to go into why. But we have initiated those discussions again. Our assistant city manager and the city attorney and myself were all working over and went to Fernandina Beach, met with them over there, and we hope that we'll be able to continue to proceed. We're working on putting the city attorney is putting it together, but should have a draft proposal, and we'll be ready to start moving forward on that. And if we can get that, as I've said many times, that'll complete the south end of the East Coast Greenway through St. Mary's, which is a very important milestone for us in being able to bring tourism downtown. So that's it. Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to echo what our council member shared about the many things going on in St. Mary's, and I would like to share with the community that the Salvation Army has helped us organize the Thanksgiving food drive, and it's Kiwanis driven, but this is an outstanding outreach. School system, the base, businesses, they're all involved. Several businesses downtown have stepped up and want to help out. It's just an incredible endeavor to put 300 bags of groceries together, give the families each two bags each, a bag of apples, bag of potatoes, some fixings in there to bring a healthy Thanksgiving dinner. And then the commissary on base helped us get 150 turkeys. It's a total team effort, and so we're sorting Thursday at Kingsland Methodist because it's centrally located, and then on Saturday, if you're bored, you can come to the warehouse and we'll have delivery routes set up with the help of the Salvation Army and some leadership in Kiwanis to facilitate the needs in our community. And then 2 pantries, one in St. Mary's and one in Kingsland, are going to get blessed with the abundance of food we'll receive from the school system. All the schools are participating, and we have a great crew from sub-base helping us out. The last thing is that on November 16th is the Seafood Festival in St. Mary's, and there's well over 100 vendors that have decided to continue to come, and I just want to encourage you to come downtown and support all those vendors and all the people and our staff, city staff, that are doing an outstanding job of making this happen, especially Angela. Do you hear that, Angela?
Yes, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so I don't want to repeat anything that anyone has already said, but I do want to make this point. Voting is a fundamental pillar of democracy and a crucial way for us to express, and especially our community to express and influence the decision-making that takes place on this dais. Tonight, we discussed something that will affect every single citizen in the city of St. Mary's, and actually outside of St. Mary's, and I would say in Camden County. So you're empowered to choose your representatives and shape policies. And now that I'm in a policy institute, I like to say policy is the decisions that we make, whether we do something or do nothing, because doing nothing is also a policy. Each one of your votes carries weight, as the election can be decided by a remarkably small margin, especially at the local level. But voting highlights the importance of participation. It fosters civic engagement, and I believe that that's one of the things that's the pillar of good communities, are the fact that we can all be engaged and involved. And it makes sure that we, as public officials, are responsive and that we're held accountable. So in a world where many people still fight for the right to vote, exercising this right is not only a privilege, but it's also a responsibility that can lead to change in our community. So I will encourage everyone that has been registered and that has the ability to go out and vote. And if you need help getting there, there's lots of organizations that will be able to provide a ride. And then I do have to add, I didn't want to make that any less by talking about these stripes on the road, but somebody came on the back of me when I made that same turn today. I don't even know what lane they started in. So it is kind of dangerous, so maybe we can see if we can get that fixed. But please go out and vote tomorrow. It's a right and it's a privilege, and I believe that we all should do it if we can. That's all I have.
All right, thank you. Mr. Smith, thank you for fixing the clock.
Amen.
There was a lot of angst in here right before 6 o'clock, but our consummate engineering team came through. Thank you. We appreciate that. All right. I've been tracking the percent numbers, well over 18,000, so I think it's close to 53% turnout, which was bigger than the presidential 4 years ago, if I remember. Wow. It was closer to 50-50, so great turnout. Just a reminder, there is a special call meeting, 4:30 on Thursday, in which we will consider and hopefully finalize the millage rate for the city of St. Mary's. Monday, Veterans Day, and something that we should all be grateful for is the veterans that have served our country. and Angela and all the people that worked on the Scarecrow Stroll. I know it's a little late, but fun as usual. Huge crowd. A little bit of candy left, maybe?
No, I didn't have any.
Okay.
I was
Oh,
giving-
well, there goes all those smart.
Mayor, go ahead. Before you close up, go ahead.
Yeah. All right. So, and that's, so I just wanted to say thank you. Yes, sir.
I was going to say Steve has something very, very important that he wanted to bring up.
Well, Artie just reminded me, you know that he and I and others on council are big Wildcat fans, and Travis Rowland, our head football coach, which is a great guy and has done a great job this year. His first year coaching at Camden has led us to the state playoffs. And we don't play this coming Friday, but we play a week from this Friday in Atlanta at North Cobb High School, and I think the kickoff's going to be 7:30. So our Wildcats will be going to Atlanta a week from this Friday to play North Cobb. And so proud of the coaching staff and our athletic director at the high school and our coaches and our kids. They've done a great job. Thank you.
Go Cats.
Go Cats.
Can I have a motion to adjourn, please?
Motion to.
Mr. Jones and a
Second.
second. from Mr. Riley.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
7:30, that's not too bad. Not too bad, huh?
Yeah, I predicted 7:30.
Did you really?
Yeah.
I believe you. That was good. There's a highlight there.
Sorry, I missed you today.